Let's face it, astrophotography is expensive and your wallet might look like this. Lucky for you, I've got 5 ways that are gonna help you become a better astrophotographer for $0. Let's get into it. Hey there, Orbiters, it's Nick from the Orbital Alliance, where we talk about space, astrophotography, and wonder. And today I'm going to give you those 5 tips for how to improve your astrophotography without having to spend a single penny. Now, I know that sounds too good to be true, but let's be honest. That fancy telescope or camera or lens, while that will help your photos look better or it might give you new opportunities, the photographer is you, the thing behind the camera. And it's that you can improve without having to spend a single penny. So right out of the gate, let's get into it. Tip number 1, learn the equipment that you already have. Now, I know this is probably going to be the one that you don't really want to hear, but it's probably the most important tip of all 5. Because let's be honest, not all of us know exactly how 100% of our current equipment works. We haven't done the work to look at all of the different settings and capabilities that our gear has, and we sure as heck haven't exercised it out in the field. So if you gave your camera to someone else, it's likely that they'd be getting different shots than you because they have a different eye. It's the photographer behind the camera, not the camera. So here's the question I want to ask you. Have you maximized the equipment that you already have before you go off and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on something new? Have you gotten the best shots you possibly can? Have you tried all the settings? If you haven't, there's still work yet to be done, and you can still take more or better shots than you already have. Tip number 2, research new equipment and prepare a buying schedule. Well, stop before you pull out your credit card and start charging things. You need to be thinking about this one carefully. This isn't an invitation to go out and buy whatever you want. This is an invitation to carefully plan how you're going to acquire the gear that you need to achieve the astrophotos that you want. You need to decide what type of photography you want to be doing, because what you do determines what gear you should get. Don't buy what a deep sky imager is gonna purchase if you wanna do wide angle photography for the Milky Way. It just doesn't make sense. So learn what successful Milky Way photographers are using, and don't look at just one, look at many, and find some web shops that actually have the equipment for sale. Do some price comparisons, learn what the capabilities and the specs are, compare them, and determine what's best for you. Now again, that doesn't mean you can buy it right away. A lot of times we don't have the money burning a hole in our pocket, ready to drop on a moment's notice to buy $6,000 worth of gear. But if you carefully plan it out, find what's most important right now, what you can wait for a little bit longer, and so on and so on. Create some tiered steps, start budgeting and saving, and then you can acquire all that gear over a long period of time. This one may take a bit of patience, but don't worry, you will get there eventually. Tip number 3, be as flexible with your schedule as possible. Now, as astrophotographers, we know that the things we want to be shooting often happen in the middle of the night or super early in the morning. Oftentimes when you want to be sleeping warm in your bed, but you have to get up and go outside in 2-degree temperature to shoot in the frigid winter sky, sometimes that can be unappetizing, but we know that the results are always worth it. So instead of choosing to sleep in, maybe set that extra alarm clock so you don't miss the event that you want to capture. I know this sounds maybe not like a tip, but more of a recommendation, but I can't tell you from experience how many times I've missed a celestial event because I was too lazy, or I wasn't willing to move that thing or stay up a little bit later to capture what I wanted to capture. As we all know, the pain of discipline lasts a short while the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Don't regret the time that you could have gotten the shot because you weren't willing to do something with your schedule. It's always possible. There's just something that usually has to give, so be ready to do that. Tip number 4, review your past astrophotography and document your learnings. There's one thing I know about myself, it's that I'm a better photographer today than I was 5 years ago. So if I looked up all of my work from 5 years ago, one thing would be certain. Those don't look as good as the photos I can take today, and I think the same would be true for you as well. So go back to your archive, look at your old photos, your old work, even your best and your worst photos, and look at them with a critical eye. And then write down or create a note in your app about what things you could have improved back then. Then the next time you're in that situation, you get that opportunity to shoot a photo like that, you know, I've learned those things from this previous shoot. I'm not gonna do those anymore. It's a cheap and free way to get better. And let me tell you, there is always something you can learn from your past photography. It sometimes takes practice to be critical of your own work. It's easy to just look at it and be like, that's great, I love that shot. Or that shot's absolutely terrible, but I don't really know why. Look into those things more critically than you ever have, and I guarantee you, you will learn something. Tip number 5, connect with other astrophotographers. Now, this one is going to put most of you outside of your comfort zones, and I'll be honest, it's putting me outside of my comfort zone just thinking about it. Astrophotography is a very isolationist activity. It's you and your camera, you and your telescope, in the pitch black in the middle of nowhere. And what that means is that you tend to avoid people or try to get away from people, not invite them into what you're doing. One of the fastest ways to get better at your craft is to surround yourself with people who do the same thing as you, who love the same thing that you do, and most importantly, with people who are better at the thing that you do. Well, of course, the next question is, how do I find these people? Where are they? I can't, they're not in my driveway, they're not out in my backyard where I'm shooting. How do I find them? Well, the internet is a wonderful place, and there's a lot of ways that you can find some amazing folks out there who would love to help you get better at what you do. And you can find them on Discord or other social media platforms like Twitter or even TikTok. Even I just got recently connected into an astrophotographer community that I didn't know existed 2 months ago until I happened to post some content about space, met someone through TikTok, and they invited me into this community. Now I have access to resources with a lot of people who do photos that I would never try, but now I can ask them for tips or help, or I can ask them to review my work. It's a really helpful thing, and there is no better catalyst than surrounding yourself with people of a like mind. Now, of course, I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. I did promise a bonus tip at the end of the video, and here we are. Here's your 6th and final tip. And it's that I want to be that first connection for you. I want to be a resource. I want to be able to help review and critique your astrophotography. I want to be able to help give you tips or answer your questions. Now, I may not be an expert or a pro. I may not even be the best at astrophotography, which I'm certainly not. But what I can be is a friend and a support. And I know it can be hard to reach out to new people, so I want to make this one easy. I want to be your first connection. So leave a comment below with your questions, or DM me with your questions or your photos you want me to look at. I would be happy to do that. And from there, we can build a relationship and then a community. Now, of course, this offer stands only for people who are willing to take this seriously. Trolls, sorry, I'm not gonna reply, but if you do wanna be a better astrophotographer and you have some genuine, serious questions and you wanna have fun doing the hobby that you love, I'm all about it. I will do whatever I can to get back to you as promptly as I can. So if you feel like you learned even one thing in this video, I would greatly appreciate your subscription and your support on all of these social platforms that I'm on. The Orbital Alliance is here to help you learn more about space, astrophotography, and wonder. Until next time, everybody, I will see you all on the other side.